The broadcast Hancock, then, had his vocabulary, his mannerisms and his delivery rewritten for him by the pair.
It's amazing how an actor's or comedian's voice gives you a clue and provides the way forward on eventual characterisation and how the thing will build and what this man will say and do and believe in. Everything is possible from that voice.
You've got to get the rhythm and the number of syllables, and that sounds very technical, but it's God's honest truth. One too many syllables in a line can render it unfunny.
We took great care.
You're a real perfectionist.
On the straight lines, on the build-up to the funny line or the denouement.
Very important.
Very important, because it wouldn't work otherwise.
Well, I'll bid you good day. Thanks very much. Whenever you want me more, don't hesitate to get in touch with me.
Where are you going?
Have me tea and biscuits.
I thought you came here to give some of your blood.
You've just had it.
This is just a smear.
It may be just a smear to you, mate, but it's life and death to some poor wretch.
One classic line, I suppose, people always remember in The Blood Donor. Tony Hancock becomes a blood donor. And when he said, we need a pint, he says, a pint? Now, the next line, which everybody knows, is a pint, that's very nearly an armful. We took about, a quarter of an hour over deciding whether it was going to be, that's nearly an armful, that's just about an armful, or, as we finally decided, that is very nearly an armful. And the reason that is funnier than that is nearly an armful is because that's even more precise. That's not nearly an armful, that's very nearly an armful.
I came in here in all good faith to help me country. I don't mind giving a reasonable amount, but a pint, well, that's very nearly an armful.
Little things like that, it's been a big laugh and a little laugh or no laugh at all.
A writing partnership is as much a personal relationship as a professional one. The old cliché about it being like a marriage derives from the often fractious intimacy that results when two sympathetic-minded friends spend 2 decades working in the same room together.
It's quite hard to find a partner that you can really write with.
Beryl Vertue again.
Alan's always done the typing, and it was interesting to watch them write because when it finally hit the page, the line of dialogue, that was really where it stayed. They were not people that wrote countless drafts and kept changing it. And so they would sit in a room and they'd throw up kind of ideas, and if the other one didn't particularly like it, they didn't say, well, I don't like that, I don't think that works. They didn't say anything. It was when the other one went, yeah, that's fine, that it went down on paper, tap, 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 on this ancient typewriter.
We throw ideas around and argue a lot, and the routine normally is that I'll pound away and Lawrence will throw ideas in and I'll tell him his ideas are all rubbish. And then I'll go back about 5 minutes later and say, run that rubbish idea past me again.
Maurice Gran.
And we work through a process of Marxist attrition. Thesis, antithesis and lunch, basically, is our way of working.
You've got to like and understand each other. You've got to be totally committed to the other guy. You've got to be able to, as it were, go into the conference room naked. If there's anything hidden in a partnership, it doesn't work. Very similar to Muir and Norden and Galton and Simpson and Marx and Gran and every other double act in the writing game you can think of.
Usually been my experience that two people writing together, one of them sort of drives it and the other one sort of edits it. How does your partnership work?
It was very nice. The most important thing to remember is that neither of us were writers before we met. Neither of us had written a word. We became writers after having met and we decided. So we really were Siamese twins in that respect.
But who's the boss? Someone must be the boss.
There's God as my witness, it is a 50-50...
I think Alan was far more an editor than I was, because he was in charge of the typewriter.
The typewriter.
And
so you're the boss.
And I was walking up and down, then I'd come back and have a look at words on the page. I was thinking ahead more.
Suddenly I start typing something and Ray come running, what, and it would turn out that I was cutting something out or suddenly you found...
He reassured me that he's not doing anything on his own, it's just editing.
Did you sort of act
yes.
Hancock? So you kind of beat him?
Very badly. Although Ray is a very good mimic. So.
Mind you, I would hate anyone to have come in the room while I was mimicking.
We give our version of it, version of Hancock. How dare you?
God, this is hard work.
In our early days, when we were writing, say, Star Bill and programmes like that, where we had a different guest comic on every week, in the main they were fine, but sometimes you got an awkward bugger on, and they would start making alterations, maybe trying to put little whimsies in, little jokes in.
Yeah.
Hancock was a pussycat, really, as far as that's concerned. He said that his job is to act and our job is to write, and left it at that.
Imagine he was also capable of writing comedy, and he'd been writing his own series. How would it have differed from what you'd written for him?
I have no idea.
That's
I have no idea. I can't imagine Tony writing.
You know, after all these years, that's the first time that question has ever been put to us.
Well done. Give that man a banana.
Absolutely.
It would be interesting to know whether we would have been in tune with today writing Hancock if the show had never stopped in 1961 or whatever it was.
Right.
If we had suddenly discovered or rediscovered Tony now, if he was still alive somewhere, and said, well, let's do it, would he still be the same guy with the same values, same attitudes? I think possibly in a way he would.
Ah, it's a marvellous invention, radio is. I don't know what I'd do without it. I go crackers. It's opened up completely new horizons for me. Friends all over the world. All over the world. None in this country, but all over the world.
Hancock and Son, a tribute to Galton and Simpson, was presented by Harry Thompson. The producers were Liz Abrahams and Tom Alban. At the same time on Thursday morning, Harry Thompson continues their story through the 60s and the Steptoe years.